Techies and scientists, welcome back to the channel. And again, this week we had another spectacular week. We did have a lot of government delayed. We already know that's coming. And I'm not sure why there's a government shutdown because I think they kind of have that thing resolved. But regardless, so the most important thing going on this week was supposed to be the unemployment situation, and that actually did not pan out. So at 8:30 today on Friday, there was nothing going on. There was no blip on the radar. So there's not much going on there. And so earlier this week on Wednesday, we had Google reporting their quarterly earning, and then we also had Amazon and MicroStrategy. And MicroStrategy is owned by Michael Saylor, not Michael, the other guy. So I would like to correct myself on that, based on that last recording. Okay, so what happened this week is so let's talk about this real quick, right? So price opened up exactly and did exactly what I said it was gonna do last week. So price opened up, trade down a little bit, then trade back up, clear out those high, and then start going lower and lower. And on the live stream itself that I did on Wednesday, I started highlighting those particular areas, and also I highlight this week on the daily. So I was able to do it in live during the live trading session, and price was able to come down a little further that on Friday. I think it was like on Thursday night, Friday, and then drop into it. So it was a gap lower. So it opened lower and go into half of that wick here, which is on November 21st, and start going back up again. Remember last week on our weekly review, I said if price take out 25,025, it will immediately take out 24,887, and that happened on the same day. Surprisingly, I thought it would have done it in two different sessions, but price was so animated that it did it just in one day in one session, and I believe that was in the afternoon session. Okay, and so price straight back down and then go back up again. So right now, looking at this from a seasonal tendency perspective, there's not much to look at. Okay, so it's kind of like going more like on the opposite end of the seasonal tendencies, which is a more fuel to the fire that if it's going on the opposite end of the seasonal tendencies, that there's a very strong possibility that you are right. So what I'm saying is, like right around this time, uh, market usually is bullish, like around February 3rd, all the way until I say February 6th. The market is bullish. Then the storm pull back. Then the storm pull back, and then the market will come back up. But that's not what we saw. We saw that the market drop and keep on dropping, and now instead of pulling back, now it's snapping back higher again. Now, is there a possibility that price may come back up and drop lower again? I highly doubt so, but you never know. So just looking at here at the seasonal tendency, there's this low that was formed. So unfortunately, I don't have the exact number, but there was a low that was formed, I believe, on January 20th or January 21st. That low, we may have to watch out for that next week. So that low that was created on January 20th or January 31st, we'll take a look at that on the other chart. What may happen is it may touch it up, or maybe go slightly higher in one of those gap here, and then spend some time here and then start going lower. So I guess I'm already giving a prognostication of what's gonna come up, so we might as well just dive in the chart right now. Okay, and let's take a look at it. So where is the 20th? So yeah, so the 20th, that's why I said the 20th or the 21st. So what happened is you have a high, a low, and a higher high, and then you have price dropping very quickly and price retracing back up. very quickly right now. So what I'm anticipating what may happen next week is price may get back to the level of, let's just see here, 25.54. Where's the open? 25.529. So it may get up to this area and then drop lower again. Okay, so that's what I'm anticipating next week. If that's not the case scenario, it might be very bullish and then might start taking out that relatively high here at 26,013 even. Okay, so what's the high on this one? Oh, very close to that high. That 26, I'll say just 26,000 even. So if market is very bullish next week, we may see a possible scenario that prices start going higher and higher and higher, and then clear out that high on the 26,000. But for me, I think the most likely scenario for next week is price may gap down a little bit, just like it did, and then start going back up and right around this area right here. So you may start see price may spend some time over there because of that gap we have here. So that's the gap between 25,529 and the close on this one, which is a 25,471. So between 25,471 and 25,529, you may start seeing a lot of funky price actions. You go sideways for a little bit and then start going back lower and lower. So let's make a case on why we may see price may gap up or may gap down. Okay, so let's see here. So we have today, and so by just eyeballing this, so you have the AM session here, and then there's the lunch session, and most of the part of the PM session was just going sideways, and then it spiked up and then dropped. But there's this relatively cool lows here, so I'm thinking it's going to drop lower, gather those sell stops here to get some more strength to go higher, take out that high, and keep going higher and higher, and get to that level of 25, 529 that I mentioned, and then spend some time here and then start going lower from there. So I'm expecting for price to gap down. So if price doesn't gap down and if it gap up and start going up on the Asian session, going up and up, that's a sign that the market has reversed and we may be in the bullish market, because you got to remember the bullish market doesn't start at the top. The bullish market start here at the bottom. Okay, when we make that return here at what was that 24 242, the one that area, this is where the market reverse and return. Okay, so I mean, are we back? Is this going to be like a great melt up? Not necessarily, but you can see there's in the structure that price is trying to go back up to reach a level, and I would say watch out for that level 25,529. So making sure that you don't get caught in the middle of that. So that's my prognostication for next week. And I'll say also next week, just be on the lookout for, I believe there's a government report for the unemployment that got postponed until next week on Wednesday. So at 8:30, so I'll watch out for that. There's a CPI on Friday at 8:30 a.m. So next week is gonna be a doozy. I guess every week is going to be a doozy, but that will be in the later half of the week. So in the later half of the week, I say on Wednesday and Friday, you will see a lot of price action. So for CPI, it usually trade one way. So if it's gonna go up, it's just gonna trade straight up most of the time. And then if it's gonna go straight down, it's just gonna trade straight down. But if there's a lot of mixed data, like a mixed signal from the Fed, or if you see that the number hasn't changed much, so you may see like a lot of back and forth, just like unemployment. But I wouldn't count on that because I think the Fed is pretty firm on keeping the rate the way it is, at least all the way until March or April. So we'll have to wait and see. With that being said, guys, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the new format and trade safely.